The start of the new year began with bad news for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The realization that none of the goals proclaimed by the Israel Defense Forces in the Gaza Strip have been achieved, forced the Israeli government to urgently review all its actions and create a new plan for the current year. Everything that is happening in Gaza now indicates that Israel has urgently begun to change its tactics. However, if you think that Israel's decision to change its tactics will somehow ease the lives and fates of a lot of ordinary citizens of Gaza, then you are deeply mistaken. So, it became known that Israel decided to withdraw some of its offensive units from the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military explained this by saying these units allegedly need urgent rotation. These actions of the Israeli High Military Command came as a surprise to many. Even the expert community was surprised by such a move by Tel Aviv. The fact is that the Israel Defense Forces are constantly experiencing a chronic shortage of personnel to keep these Palestinian territories under their control. And therefore, Tel Aviv's decision to withdraw its units from Gaza seemed very strange to many. Some people on social media even began to claim that Israel was preparing a peace agreement with the Palestinians, and as a gesture of goodwill, began withdrawing its troops from Gaza. However, this is far from the case. Israel is not preparing a peace agreement with the Palestinians, and that isn't about any goodwill gestures. Israel was forced to withdraw its units from Gaza due to the deplorable state of its economy. The fact is that on October 7, 2023, when the Palestinians in their sandals broke through the most powerful Israeli fortifications, official Tel Aviv was so scared that it urgently called up all the reservists of the country, starting from ordinary teachers and ending with workers of factories and enterprises. And now, when the Israeli authorities realized that the IDF had failed to achieve its goals in Gaza, and that this conflict would last for a very long time, the question arose of saving the Israeli economy. Against this background, the Israeli authorities were forced to withdraw 5 IDF brigades from the Gaza Strip, so that the soldiers could return to their jobs and begin to support the economy of the Jewish state. IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari said that Israel will have to fight for a long time, and against this background, a plan is being developed, according to which reservists will be able to continue to participate in hostilities and at the same time regularly take leaves. Thus, the official Tel Aviv recognized that the IDF would have to fight for many months and even years to achieve its goals. Against this background, the former chief of staff of the Israel Defense Forces, Dan Halutz, said that everything that is happening is a complete failure. According to him, the Israeli government led by Benjamin Netanyahu hides the huge losses of the IDF, while Israel has failed to achieve either strategic or significant tactical goals in the Gaza Strip. Even though the Israeli authorities claim that the losses of the Israel Defense Forces during the entire period of hostilities amounted to only 172 soldiers killed and wounded, Hamas representatives say the opposite. According to them, the Palestinian militants eliminated about 2,000 soldiers and officers of the Israeli army. Moreover, independent journalistic monitoring groups stated that by the beginning of January 2024, the Israeli army had lost about 40 Merkava tanks, 30 armored vehicles, and 65 armored personnel carriers. They announced these figures based on numerous footage of destroyed Israeli heavy equipment published on the web. Given Israel's small size and relatively small population, these losses are truly appalling. Even Western experts admit that the Israeli army is still holding out solely due to its complete air superiority and the support of the United States. Thus, it becomes clear that 2024 will be the most difficult year for Israel in the last 80 years. To facilitate the advance of the Israel Defense Forces through the ruins of Gaza, the United States supplies Tel Aviv with all types of weapons, ranging from artillery installations to fighter jets. Moreover, the United States also increased the provision of a non-stop supply of 155mm shells to Israel, which were intended for the armed forces of Ukraine. Thus, it becomes clear that the United States is ready to sacrifice everything to prevent Israel from losing. Against this background, Hamas can only hope for Tehran's competent actions not only in the region, but also in the international arena. If Yemen's Houthis force the United States to launch large-scale military operations against them, and Hezbollah continues to launch massive strikes against Israel from Lebanese territory, the Israeli government will be forced to abandon its far-reaching plans and sit down at the negotiating table.